What is up, everybody, and good morning. So today I was kind of just going through ether rewards. I was going through Trust Masters and stuff. I still call them Trust Masters. And I was just kind of trying to figure out what I should get next. I was trying to plan out, how to spend my ethers, which arcs to prioritize as far as getting these trust rewards. And I was like, you know what? We might as well talk about this, because I'm sure with everything going on right now, you probably haven't even checked, but you probably have a few ethers sitting around. What are you feeding them into? Leave me a comment. Let me know. So this is my second account. Now, I've done this on my first account. I went through and I prioritized everything. And I was like, I'm going to get this first. Obviously, you want to grind out powerful weapons for your account, but you want weapons that are applicable and really useful, right? The first thing I grinded out on my old account was the mana sword, and man, that thing was just top tier for the longest time. I can't even get the mana sword because it was from a limited arc. It was Randy's best in slot weapon for good reason. The thing had, I think it was the first weapon we had that had over 200 attack. So that was obviously the first thing I grinded out. I can tell you right now, a very powerful sword is always a great idea, right? On this account, that sword ended up being the Zelbus blade. So this is the first thing that I got, 225 attack. You know what? Even if you're not using the trait on this weapon, who gives a shit? Even if you don't need the 5% to your crit rate and the light damage plus 10%, you're still getting a sword that's giving you 225 attack, 143 intelligence. Oh, and it's giving you 20 magic points, right? It is light attribute. But for the most part, something like this is always a great bet, right? But that's pretty obvious. That's a UR arc, right? We're going to prioritize these things, and these UR arcs just have such powerful items on them. But those are typically the first things that we're going to go after, which is what brings me here. Oh, I have 0.1 in this already. So this is probably the next weapon that I want to grind out for Ray, right? Yeah, of course, I have to spend 2 SC to have Ray, equip machine, but come on, this thing is just, it's made pretty well for him. Ray's special claw for himself isn't out yet, but I feel like as far as a pistol goes, this is probably the best matchup that Ray can have. It's funny, I can just see Ray out there with a gun. I mean, Ray just doesn't look like he would use a damn gun. He looks like he would just slash at you with his claws, but this thing is Thunder attribute, of course. It's wonderful for Ray. That 210 strength and 165 intelligence just because. And this thing gives Thunder attack damage 10% and special attack power 10%. It's absolutely amazing for Ray. This is great. This is one of his best in slots right now. And here is where my little dilemma comes in, because I have this thing at 0%, but there's another gun for Ray that is absolutely phenomenal for him. This thing is 210 attack. Where is it? And yeah, most of you probably know which gun we're going to be talking about. Ooh, it's time to go arc fishing real quick. Large hand of time. What time is it? It's arc time. Alright, where is this thing? Is it? No, there it is. It's from the temple. No, it is right here. Okay, the covert gun Trishla. However you want to say that. This gun is a masterpiece. And what do I have this thing at? This thing is at 5.8%. So it's like I have a head start here. It's 156 attack. Okay, it's not 210. It is light element, right? So you're not going to be hitting with that lightning. The element on your weapon only affects your basic attack. Okay, so you kind of got that going for you. With Ray, you're still going to use your skill kit. It's still going to be lightning damage. He's still going to get all those boosts. but he's also going to have access to this trait. Okay, if damage is originally reduced due to enemy's attribute resistance, ignore the attribute resistance. So for any character that is locked in to one damage type, one element, like Ray's doing lightning, this gun pretty much just becomes like a must-have. Alright, I talked about this when Celios first dropped. This was like the best in slot combo for Celios at the time, because if you ran up against somebody that had 10 million ice resistance, this would just neutralize it. You know, it would just ignore that ice resistance. And for a character like Celios who's doing all ice, this was a huge deal. This still might be his best in slot. I'm not sure on that. I don't run Celios all that much. I do like his character design. I think he's just awesome. But on this account, I haven't really had time to invest into him and build him. Big MCC runs him, and he's on the friends list all the time, and he just tears shit up. I don't know if he has this gun equipped, but all in all, this is gnarly. And this is a weapon that can help your whole account, right? Because you're going to have characters that are only doing one type of damage. You can throw 2 SC on them, and you can equip this gun. And then when you run into something that is completely resistant, boom, you can ignore their resistance. There was a boss that we had, I forget exactly what it was, but I remember that thing had 200 resistance to every element. And this was a way around it. You could equip this gun, and that character that had this thing, it could actually burst damage that boss down. I do remember that. So this is a big one. Anyone that, you know, has some ethers laying around and they don't know what to put it on, the covert gun is just an awesome bet all around for your entire account. Even if the majority of your characters cannot use pistols, you're only 2 SC away. So this one's always a great choice. Probably why mine's already at 5%. I probably fed some ether into it, I'm sure. Right? Totally worth it, in my opinion. Oh, and this thing has skill charge 2 on it. You know, skill charge 2 is a pretty good one. Right? I do like SCs. They're quick, and they typically do a decent amount of damage, or they have a good effect. So, cool. We'll get me some skill charge 2. Fast Magic Circle and God Heal. Cool. Just in case you don't have God Heal laying around. And congratulations to us. We are finally up at rank 25. I think we get 1,000 lapis for that too. Actually, I'm not sure. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. Let's see. What does this thing have? Maja's Wand. Light magic attack. Plus 30% damage. This is really good for Lily. Obviously, when you're trying to go through and get like the best weapons that you can for an account, just kind of remember that this staff really favors light damage. Okay, which can be great on Lily if your Lily is casting light. There was another one. Is it here? No, that's the Dark Sickle. The Apocalypse Staff. Personally, and it's from this Divine Beast, let's see, what do I have this thing at? 26%. 26%. So we're almost a third of the way there. Heaven's Cry. Heaven's Cry is something that I've already grinded out on my old account. And personally, this is just me, guys. Personally, I would rather grind out Heaven's Cry than Maja's Wand, because the trait on this is magical critical damage plus 30%. So you're not locked into an element, right? There are so many mages that are using a crit build, and now your magical crit damage is plus 30%. You can always get those crits. You're not limited to one element. You can crit in any element, right? You can cast dark, you can cast light, you can cast earth magic, and as long as you have a crit build on that mage, hell, your earth spells will get plus 30% to their crit damage. Also, like, there are mages, okay, that break the element, and that is based on their crit. They need to crit in order to have a chance to lower your elemental resistance. I do believe Sea Princess Leela was one of these characters. Let's see, off the top of my head, without looking at Lily's equipment, I think one of Lily's accessories actually lets you reduce... You know what? I don't want to say that without looking at it. I really don't. Let me just fact check myself real quick. Your boy did pull Lily. She was like the last character I got before I pulled the UR Ark, and I was just like, oh man. Oh, that's right. She's not even high enough level to equip an accessory. We might be able to do something like about that. No, almost. I don't know. Lily deserves to at least be level 20 for now. I know I have her item. I thought that upon scoring crits, it has a chance to reduce the elemental resistance. I'm not sure. Let me just double check that real quick. Where's my inventory? Here we go. Here's the thing. Typically for Lily, yeah, it'd be nice to have both accessories. But just like in my old account, I kind of had to choose one over the other. And I prioritized this one. Yeah, it's right. Light critical attacks lower enemies' light resistance and deal damage. So obviously you have a unit like Lily who is a crit mage. I personally, I don't know, if you ran Maja's wand on her and got that 30% more damage, or you ran the Apocalypse and got 30% more to your crits, you know, somebody can leave me a comment. Let me know if you've actually ran those staffs head to head against each other. Obviously, if you have both of them, that's just effing epic for Lily. Like, if she can dual wield those things, that would just be pretty gnarly to have both of these traits. But yeah, with Lily, I only managed to get one of her accessories, and that's really all you need, right? If Lily is going to take care of the light damage for your account, if you have a ton of dark damagers already, then just get the accessory that does, you know, the light critical attacks, lower enemies' light resistance, and deal damage. That's what you want. Now, granted, it'd be great to have both of these, but I had to choose, right? There was a lot of other good stuff there in that shop. And honestly, Lily's great, but I also had Loga to think about, right? I was like one weapon away from having Loga's pretty much like his best in slot, for now at least. And this one weapon is huge because it's giving Loga 20% more damage. Here it is. It's giving Loga 20% more damage to enemies that have status on them, and that is all the time. Right, and it makes the status effects last a little bit longer, 10%, so it doesn't sound like much, but when a status lasts for 30 seconds, you know, you can get another 3 seconds on there. That doesn't sound like that much, but in 3 seconds, do you know how much damage you can dish out with a unit like Loga? Especially when you're getting an extra 20% to that damage. It is kind of a big deal, right? So the Holy Tree Blades took priority over Lily's other accessory, and that is just because Loga is such a gnarly character in his own right, and because he's different, right? Everybody else is just doing straightforward damage. This guy is breaking people in a very weird way, and I think even in the future he's going to be able to cheese some things. Now, obviously, we're going to run into bosses and monsters that are just like immune to ailments, but that's when Anula Meth comes in, and you can get rid of some of those immunities, and hopefully you can still do something with him. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm working on Loga, and I have Lily now too, right? Oh man, the Ogetsu Blade, this thing is so badass. I love this thing. So that's pretty much why I didn't get Lily's second accessory. Also, I'm hearing, I mean, right now Lily has real competition. This is why I haven't really worked on her so much. But I still felt like getting the item for her for light damage, because if we look at my units, as far as dark damage goes, you know, I got Bad Boy Shin. Where is Roland? Obviously is, or I'm sorry, I'm talking about dark damage. As far as dark damage goes, I have Bad Boy Shin, I have Millium, and for me, that is plenty, right? Like, they can do plenty of dark damage. Dark damage, there's a lot of characters that do dark damage. As far as light damage, I have a pretty strong Roland that I'm working on. And Lily's going to be part of that team for light damage. Lily and Roland together, it's like they're from the same kingdom. And obviously I have, well, no, that's right, this girl, she's not light, she's lightning. So Guardian Angel Lucio, she's going to be running with Ray, at least for me. So I'm going to have a pretty awesome lightning party. I have the Ark for it, I have Ray for it. But yeah, we were talking about light. So as far as light goes, this kind of does help me, right? Because other than Lily and Roland, and Lily's not really built up, I don't have anybody to do like really a ton of light damage. So that's kind of my plan with Lily. I'm going to deck her out just to do holy damage, and hopefully that works out well. I know it'll work out alright because obviously I had her on my old account. So yeah, as far as staffs go, those two would be pretty much a good idea. I would have to say that the Far Cry staff is probably more applicable. You're going to run into more mages that are rocking a crit build that can take advantage of the magical critical damage plus 30% no matter which element it is, right? The other staff is locked into light, so it's great for Lily. But as far as other mages go, meh. So there's that, right? I also have I have Monster Yoda, so that's why another reason why I haven't really concentrated on Lily all that much. She still has a place though because he's doing non-elemental apocalypse damage. And don't get me wrong, he has a high intelligence and he can throw any element he wants. But he's not going to get that awesome hit count like Lily is from doubling the amount of hits that her Shining Zoc does and taking like what, a 40% damage penalty to it. So you're doing 60% damage, but you're getting twice as many hits. And then when you start getting crits in there, it really helps Lily, get up to damage cap and spam double the number of hits. And those crits are going to help you damn near get to damage cap anyway. So as far as light element goes, that is my plan. And that is why I'm probably going to have to start working on one of these staffs soon, because I think the strongest staff I have is on Monster Yoda, and it's not doing anything for crit. It's not doing anything for crit or for a specific element, I don't think. Let's see, what does he have equipped? Yeah, when using skills temporarily give 27% intelligence buff, and this thing is 121. So really, I do need to upgrade my staff game. I really do. It's probably going to be one of the next things I work on. But all in all, I'm probably going to grind these guns out first, just because they're the characters that I'm running. I know it's a tall order. It's like 200% of ether to grind out on this account. And I honestly think that I would have already had the covert gun. I would have had that thing. It took me forever to get this arc. Like, this is one of the last arcs that I got, and I was very happy to finally see this, because I know that's where this gun is. So that's got to be pretty high up on the list. Let's see, what else do we got? The brisk blade, zestina. This is an ice blade. Defeat an enemy, recovers SCT. That's great for mobs. If you need an ice sword for whatever reason, obviously if you're running Celios, that might be alright. I would kind of caution people to really think about items like this, right? Because when you look at brisk blade, zestina, an item like this is only really going to be useful to one character, right? Because it's locked into ice. And because it's locked into ice, this is pretty much going to be for Celios. Now, don't get me wrong, this thing has a high strength on it, and it has a pretty applicable trait on it. Defeat an enemy and recover SCT. This is great against a bunch of mobs. I wouldn't say this is super highly sought after, though, unless you're running Celios. I just think that you can get weapons that are just more applicable all around. Here's an interesting one. Here is an interesting one. Where's that thing coming from? There it is. Give me an ether. No ethers. So I actually think this thing is actually somewhat high on my list. I've always thought this was cool. The alt defense. Oh, it's the alt defensor. It's a shield accessory, and I remember when I first read this thing, I thought it was pretty awesome. So this is given 70 defense and 70 mind. It activates an automatic guard, which is nice, and on boss wave, defense plus 10%. It doesn't sound like that much, but on a tanky build, this is a big deal. This is a big deal. It's going to help you guard. It's going to help somebody like Roland really be a gnarly tank, because you're getting great defense and mind from it. And for Roland to get more defense against a boss, you guys got to figure Roland is already cutting damage in half while he's using any of his skill kit, right? So you got like 50% damage reduction. Then when you add Dragon Shield or Demon Shield or whatever, and you get another 10% off of that, and then Dark Shield, and you're taking 20% less of this element. Roland can effectively, like in some situations, you're only going to be able to hit him for like 30% damage, right? And then with him having a super high defense and being able to guard sometimes and just deflect hits, things like this make Roland just a very good tank, right? And this would also be awesome for Lance Evil. I know Lance Evil is an amazing tank. I haven't got to see him full tilt built. If I had him, I would actually work on him because I think tanks are very useful in this game. And I'm seeing more and more people do like a dual wield build for burst damage for Roland. I was just watching a video today about that. But for me, he's like the backbone of the team. He needs to be there. He needs to disrupt the enemies, get in front of them, and take all the hits. So like my casters in the back and everybody else that's kind of like a glass cannon doesn't have as much aggro on them. And this is one of the main reasons why I re-rolled an account to pull Roland. I really liked the way that Roland played, and I wanted, to have one of the first UR arcs out. So by re-rolling my account, I managed to do that. I gave up a lot of good accessories and items, so here I am. So this is actually kind of high on my list. I've been wanting to get this and see what I can do with it, especially for Roland. So there's a defensive item. Most people they're probably going to go for weapons first. A lot of people say the best defense is a good offense. Here's another one, the golden armor. For Roland, I did not get Roland's chest piece, and there's a reason for that. I think I covered it when I was talking about the shop and what was up there now, because his armor is there. This thing's already at 40%. So I think this armor can very easily replace Roland's armor that you can get, like his paid armor. First of all, more likely to be targeted by enemies, and as a tank, you want as many of those as possible. All right, but the big one is physical damage taken minus 10%. That is so good for Roland, who, like I said, is already cutting his damage in half, and that 10% can be stacked up with, Beast Shield, Undead Shield, whatever your fighting shield. So really, really good stuff right here, and this really helps Roland, like, literally take 20 or 30% of the damage that's being thrown at him while he's, actually using his skill kit, cutting damage in half, and then plus you have your minus 10% here, minus 10% there. Plus this thing just has crazy defense and mind. 213 defense and a 164 mind. That is insane. This thing is just nar. This is really one of the armors that you want for a tank, for Roland, right? With that alt defense thing, it would just be amazing. And I think this thing totally outclasses Roland's paid armor, because Roland's paid armor pretty much gives him an extra 5% to his charisma ability, right? So, you know, instead of increasing people's attack by 10%, it's going to be 15 or something along those lines. Or does it go from 5 to 10? I just know that it's not the biggest thing in the world. His charisma ability was cool when he first came out, but there are many other better charisma abilities that you can have going on in the background, and obviously you can't stack them, so you're going to have to choose one or the other anyway. So Roland's paid armor falls off quick, unless you are really willing to give him much less protection than he can have in order to have an extra 5% to, you know, like your attack stat, which personally I don't think that's worth it. His armor doesn't hold a match to this one. This is giving so much more defense, so much more mind, and, you know, 10% physical damage reduction is just amazing. So that is definitely something that I'm trying to get for one of my tanks. Well, my only tank, Roland, right now. And I think this would be great on Lance Evil too, right? So we're at 44% there, and that was all grinded out. I did not put any ethers into that. That actually kind of surprised me. This thing right here, the Mithril Relief. Is that right? Relief, yeah. Yep. This thing is just Narnar. This thing came down with Balin. Everybody is pretty much trying to get this thing because it's just such a good accessory. Not only is it giving you some hit points, but 65 strength. That alone is just great on an accessory. And then when a sword is equipped, boost movement speed, skill damage plus 10%. Another reason why having an awesome sword is a big deal, right? Because we have accessories that power up sword users. So obviously this, along with the Zelbus blade, is just an amazing idea, because not only are you rocking a sword that's doing like 265 strength, but now because that sword is equipped, you have more movement speed, which is great. But the big one is your skill damage is plus 10%. That's a big difference, right? So this thing is awesome for anybody with a sword. And mine's only at 5%, but I'm working on it. I see a lot of people running that. It's a great accessory to invest into, because you're gonna run into sword users. You're gonna have sword users. You're probably working on an awesome sword right now. What is this thing? Forgot what this thing had on it. Let's get to take a look real quick here after we get our skill books. Oh, that's right. This is that big ass hammer. Chance to break enemy's guard. You know, this thing does have 238 strength, and it's giving you some mind, and it's doing earth damage. So I even thought, like, if I got this thing, I would see if I can put it on Rem, see what it does for her. I mean, it is earth, but it's got really good stats on it. Let's see. Obviously, we have well, they're not UR arcs, they're SR arcs or whatever. This thing is just like kind of like a freebie. It's 50% already. I think the pumpkin armor, personally, guys, I even think this pumpkin armor is better on Roland than Roland's armor. I mean, this thing doesn't even give you any mind, right? But it does give you some aggro, right? And it gives you a high defense, 171. So against like physical damage maps, this is great, as long as you're not running into a sorcerer that's going to cast something on you. Having 171 defense, it's not as good as the 225 from the gold armor, but yeah, it's comparable. And this is also giving you 500 hit points. You know, 500 is a nice chunk. It's giving you some good resistance, right? It's you get minus 10 to light, but you're getting some fire and you're getting some lightning. You're also getting like some poison resistance. What is that? Blind resist. It's got good resistances. And yeah, this is a great piece of armor. And you probably already have it at 50%. Right? So that's kind of like a freebie for us right now because of Happy Halloween. And like I said, I would rather rock that pumpkin armor. And this is like the whole reason why I've been getting dupes of this thing. Is literally to get a different armor to put on Roland. I will say this about Roland's paid gear. His boots are totally worth it. Those boots are totally worth it. I did pick up the boots myself. Go for the boots over his armor, okay? That's my best advice. So then we got From Zero. We have Rems headband. A lot of people have been talking about getting this thing. Of course, 60 defense, 60 mind, hit points 150, no attribute physical attack damage plus 10%, and reduce magic damage by 10%. So you're getting magic damage resistance 10%, and as long as you don't have an attribute, your physical attack damage is plus 10%. This is good, right? It's giving you a little bit of hit points. It's giving you some defense in mind. A lot of people are working on getting Rems headband for good reason. I already have this thing at 7%. And of course, we have the magic crystal necklace. This is just great for a mage. Intelligence 70 and some mind. When using skills, slightly recover MP. When magically attacking, slightly recover SCT. So this is great. This is just an awesome item for a mage. It's going to keep you fed. It doesn't matter which element that you're using. Honestly, when I first saw this thing, I thought this was going to have something to do with just ice magic damage or something like that. So I was very pleasantly surprised when this thing really is just a great mage item. It's got a good int on it. It's going to feed your magic point pool, which is great. A lot of mages need help with that, especially in some of these boss fights where the boss actually saps some of our MP and starts draining it. This kind of gives you a way to build some of that back up so you can throw an extra spell here and there. And obviously this also helps with your SCT recovery. That's just great. So obviously these are kind of rare arcs. Of course they're going to have powerful things on them. Yeah, I think we've covered all of those. The highest rarity arcs, at least that I have. Here's an awesome spear. You know, be careful getting a spear unless, you know exactly who you want to use it. This would be a specific item for a specific character. We don't have that many spear users. We just got the two-handed spear ability. So that's kind of cool. What is this thing? I believe it was an armor. The Sinister Juliet. Yeah. This is a women-only item. Enemy defeating the unit takes 20% damage and 2 random basic status ailments. Actually, this is very interesting. I thought this would be a cool item for a zombie build. And you can have kind of like a sacrificial lamb out there. Some girl, when she gets defeated, boom, you get this badass break on you, right? Like, that's substantial. You're taking 20% more damage, and you get 2 random basic status elements. The 20% more damage, you know, sacrificing one of your party members that can come back to life in order to put a 20% more damage break on the boss. This is some great boss slaying stuff right here, because it's going to enable the rest of your team to do 20% more damage to a boss. So for zombie builds, especially for female zombie builds, because you have to be a woman in order to wear this thing, I think this thing's great. I actually can't wait to get it so I can see if I can do anything with it. But it's only it's under 10%. What do we got here? Yeah, this Aqua Armor. This thing's pretty interesting too. It's, you know, fire damage minus 10%, additional minus 15% of fire magic for fire magic. So obviously a fire user is not going to equip this thing, but if you're going to fight a fire user, this is a great piece of gear to equip. You're going to take less fire damage, and this thing has a super high mind. It's got great stats all around, actually. This is giving you like over 100 intelligence for a robe. That's really good, and it's still giving you MP, defense, mind. This would be a pretty good item to have, honestly. Whether you're fighting things that are casting fire at you or not, this would just be an awesome robe to have. Kind of hard to prioritize a robe right now, though. Let's see. There was another claw I was looking at. Oh, the AntiMagic Mask. A lot of people are excited about this. Less likely to be targeted by enemies. Sure. Chance of magic damage taken to become 1. That's pretty awesome. I don't know how often this, I don't know what the chance is. I don't know how often this procs. If somebody knows, please let me know. I haven't had a chance to test this thing out, but it's definitely on my list. This could definitely help you, like, cheese some nasty mages. So I thought this thing was cool. And it's at 33%, so, you know, I'm on my way there. What did we have here? This longsword, it's only 115, you know, attack, but it gives you strength plus 15%. I would love to test this item out. I think it actually can be very beneficial. That 15% to your strength is a big deal. Haven't got a chance to test it out, though. We're only at 20%. Great arc, though. What does this thing have? This thing has, what is it? Is it a sword or a spear? The Kingfield horns. And yes, of course, it's his horns. So of course it's going to be a spear. Great strength, and spears give some defense too, so that's pretty cool. Physically attacking, chance to have the enemy's defense or attribute resistance and do damage. So this is cool because this is going to help you get around resistance, right? Chance to have the enemy's defense or attribute resistance. So it can help you get around very high defense or attribute resistance and do damage. Very good, very awesome. If I still had a Tsukasa, this would be the spear that I would be grinding out for him instead of just the silver tip spear. This is an amazing weapon for Tsukasa, especially since he does a lot of dark damage. So if you have Tsukasa, which is still one of my favorite breakers, this is an amazing item for him. And just a gnarly ass looking arc. We went over the sword's tail. See, there was another one right now. It was one of the breaker arcs. The Phoenix Blow. This is one of the best claws for Rey, right? Like if you don't have a good claw, this is 158 strength. It's going to do fire damage, but skill damage plus 15%. And really, the trait is the most important thing here for Rey. It's going to increase his skill damage by 15%. All of his skills. He's a very heavy skill user, so this just goes a long way. If you don't mind doing fire damage with him with your basic attacks, I think this is a great claw. I had to choose between that claw and, where is it? The Venom Dragon claw. And obviously, I chose the Venom Dragon claw. In my personal opinion, it has a little bit more strength. It gives you some intelligence for no reason, right? You're not going to do fire damage, you're going to be doing dark damage, but who cares? But regular attacks have a chance to poison the enemy, and on top of, you know, being poisoned, damage to poison enemies plus 50%. So if you can get that poison to go off, you're going to do plus 50% more damage. Personally, to me, I would rather have this than 15% more to your skill damage, because this is also giving you an extra 20 strength, right? And if you're running Loga or somebody that can poison the enemy very quickly and effectively, you don't have to poison them yourself, and you're pretty much running around with a plus 50% damage. So that is why I got this claw for Rey. And Rey is one of 3 characters that has claw high boost, which you can't get right now from an arc. So it's kind of important to take full advantage of all the bonuses that Rey is getting to a claw. Like, you can equip Rey with a hammer and you can put Mjolnir on him, which has decent damage from an SR arc, and it's still doing lightning damage. But you're not going to be getting, you know, the 40 or 50 or whatever % more to your damage and to your attack power and to your crit, because you're not going to be taking advantage of the claw boost and claw high boost. And I think those are pretty awesome abilities. We should try to take care of, or try to take advantage of them. So that's why I personally think Rey should at least have a claw equipped, right? And that's just the way that I went with it, and this is why I got this claw. This has been my #1 priority, so that Rey can actually have some of his best in slot-ish weapons. I didn't know that I was going to get the UR arc and be able to have access to his gun. So, you know, without all that, well, even with that, this is still a great item. And honestly, it was going to be, you know, I probably would have grinded out the other claw to go with this one, the one that gives him more skill damage. That is a great optimal build for Rem. Both of those claws and getting the bonuses to having 2 claws. And what this one does, plus 15% more to your skill damage, I think that is just wonderful for Ray. But I'm going to have to try to get one of these guns for him. But hey, if you have both of those claws, rejoice. They're going to fit on Ray just great, and they're going to do tons and tons of damage. I think we've covered some good armor. Here's another decent one, because this is, I mean, you're adding fish type to the user, but come on, you're getting 200 defense, 192, and you're getting 150 mind, and you're getting some hit points. As long as you're not fighting anything that's doing lightning damage and stunning you, this is even giving you like some curse resist, and it's giving you fire and ice. That's not bad, right? You're taking 10% more to lightning, thunder damage, but you're getting 15% resistance to fire, and you're getting 10% resistance to ice. Honestly, guys,